Welcome to Into the Light, a podcast by Mending Minds Village where we stand united in advocating for juvenile mental health and suicide prevention. I'm your host, Caden, and we're going to embark on a journey of awareness, understanding, and resilience. At Mending Minds Village, we believe in the transformative power of conversation. We believe in shedding light on the challenges that our youth are facing and fostering a community of support for our children. Into the Light is not just a podcast. It's a beacon of hope. It's a safe place where we confront the shadows that are surrounding juvenile mental health and suicidal stigmas. Join us as we engage in honest, heartfelt conversations, share the stories of triumph, and amplify the voices of those who are inspiring change. Together, we strive to break the silence. We are erasing stigmas and igniting a movement for suicide prevention. This podcast isn't just about shedding light on our struggles. It's about guiding our youth into a future where their mental health is prioritized and where they can find strength, understanding, and unwavering support. So grab your headphones and join us on Into the Light, because at Mending Minds Village, we believe that with every conversation, every single story shared, and every heart touched, that we will bring a little more light into the world of juvenile mental health. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Into the Light with Mending Minds Village. I am your host, Caden, and today we bring you another great episode. We bring you in a guest who has some experience with juvenile mental health, who has some experience in what we are looking for, and some experience in looking at things from a different point of view. We are bringing you today Deb from Life Ingredients and a Grandma on a Mission. Welcome into the show, Deb. It's great to have you.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Very, very great. All right. Well, why don't you give our guests a little bit of an introduction to yourself and kind of how you found Life Ingredients?
Yes, I'd be glad to do that. I call myself a grandmother on a mission. I have 8 grandchildren and 4 children. And we all kind of grew up together and realizing that there were parts and pieces of our lives that were missing and things we needed to know a little bit earlier in life and to understand. I always appreciate it when people are street smart, but they also are book smart. And there's a combination of that. And we get that in Life Ingredients. We really talk about the skills that are available to children and tools to help them understand why things happen, why people say the things they do, and why are things so confusing at times. And we have 8 life ingredients that we use. And as we go through the show, I can share those with you. And what this does is it's a program. It's 5 to 7 minutes in the morning or evening, wherever you choose to do it. And you do it with your children. And the reason you do that is because the lessons that we teach are things that we've forgotten as we work in this busy world. You know, we are so involved in finances and things that we feel we need to do in life, and sometimes we forget the important basics, and that's what Life Ingredients is about. And I truly believe that this generation of my grandkids is a generation that is going to be pivotal, because we can't sustain the place we are right now, and so kids are going to become more aware. This is the process that's going on right now, where we're not enough aware of what's going on in the world. So that's kind of a beginning, give you an idea of it. It's an online course, and we have a book that we've created to teach kids how to think. It's thoughts and how to think. It's kind of in a storybook form, but more about how to think, because that's how we create our lives. So that's a little bit of basics of what we do.
That's great. No, I'm glad you shared with that book, because that's definitely one thing that we had looked at that on your website, and that's something we definitely want to share with our audience today, and let them know that that's available. So, remind me, it's not just yourself with Life Ingredients, correct? There's another part of that organization.
What are you talking about? I'm not clear what you're saying.
Just kind of looking at the website, kind of looking into your about us information, and you've shown on your website you've got Kelly Dillon, who is a creative director.
Oh,
And
excuse me.
how did
Art
Kelly come into
Illustrated.
play?
Yes. Callie and I met about, 7 years ago. And she, I think, had just gotten out of school. And I saw this adorable website that she created around it's processing, emotional processing, sensory processing is what it is. And it was so cute. And I said, hey, would you be
Okay.
interested in working with me? And we worked for about 3 years together without even meeting each other in person. And she now is in her last quarter of becoming a school psychologist and still works with me
Wow.
constantly. Yeah, she's an amazing human being. We're about 40 years apart in age, but we have so many fun things that we believe in together. And so Kelly is the creator of the illustrations. She helps write and often writes the stories and books. And we just collaborate. We do storyboarding. We talk, yeah, this would work, and this looks good, and that. And so she has really been a gift to me. And now that she's working in the schools, we have this everyday, interest of what's going on with the kids. And I'm back working in the schools too after COVID. And I just teach second, third, fourth, and fifth graders about life ingredients. And there's really been a shift in our mental awareness since COVID.
Oh, I
Mm,
bet.
yes. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Hmm.
And so, you came together and you put together this program and this book. Um, was this from life experiences? Was this something that you found you needed with your own kids? Kind of what was the basis of finding life ingredients?
I have known my entire life that I was going to do this, but I am not a strong advocate of school. And I knew
Okay.
people would say, why aren't you a teacher? And I say, because I would have been fired the first week. People have to grow, and they have to allow their spirits to open up, and they have to understand and, get, um, I love project based ideas and things like that. And, seriously, I see so many things. I worked almost every day with my one granddaughter during COVID online, and I think, why do we need to know that, and you yourself and probably most of your audience will look back and say, yeah, there were a lot of things we wasted our time. And particularly now we have an internet that can give you, answers at a pop of a second, and
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
true advocate of the internet. People, oh, I don't get on Facebook. I don't do this. I don't do that. And I'm like, you know what? People, wake up. This is the face of the future. We need to have this process, this nervous system that connects us all, and it's very
Yep.
important to me. And so when I quit my family business job, I said, okay, I'm going to do an online course. And so I call what I do good screen time. I mean, you know, we are a very immature species. And so, we have porn on there, and we have lies on there, and we have all kinds of things because people, are at different levels of life in that. But I'm looking for
Absolutely.
my tribe. Yeah, I'm looking for that tribe that says, I want to do good things for my children, and I want them to have the basis of how to move forward in their life so that they become aware of what's going on with them. They're not, made into a robotic state. And so that was really, really important to me. And I started with thoughts. I've been studying uh, self personal development and self whatever you want to call it. I can't think of the word right this way. But anyways, I've been doing that since I was 25. I've read a million books and done a ton of studies with people. I've gone to 5 different colleges, never bothered to graduate because I didn't think that was important. What was important is to experience and explore and to learn. And that's what I'm trying to instill in these children. And the last
Right.
the eighth life ingredients is true. And I tell the children, look, I'm not going to tell you your truth, but here are some basic foundational things that will help you to find your truth. And, truth can be
Right.
many ways, you know. And so, but if they have some strong foundation, they can find that heartfelt space. And that's what I'm helping them to do.
That's great. I love that so much.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about the ingredients. You show that there are 8 ingredients for emotional growth.
Hmm.
And let's talk about that for a minute and kind of how you found each of those areas to fit in. I think they're great. I love, I've looked at all 8 of them, and I think you're
Thank
absolutely
you.
spot on.
Thanks, Kaden. You know, I am a believer in the universe and I am a believer in science. And I have been a meditator. I mean, I had my high school kids, my adult children now, in TM when they were in high school because I believed, and the reason I believe this is my kids were not students, and when we decided to do TM, they all did very well in their studies, and I thought, wow, there's something to this brain stuff, there really is, and so I
Yeah.
have, you know, realized, I see you're off your thing. Are you still there?
Yep. I'm still here with you.
Oh,
Just
okay. I'm sorry. I just didn't want to go on if you want, but anyways,
nope. You're great.
okay. I realized the importance of these 8 life ingredients one summer journaling. And it just they just came, how when you journal and you free flow it, and these came up and I'm thinking like, wow, what am I supposed to do with these, And it developed over
Yeah.
time. And I would say probably Life Ingredients has been around close to 8 years now. And I'd say in the 5th year, we finally, oh, I think that is it. That is it. After studying with kids and teachers and parents and stuff like that. So the first one is thoughts, and thoughts are things. They're real, they matter, they actually become matter. When an electrical impulse, your thought, has a chemical reaction, it becomes matter and feelings in your body. But the important thing to
Right.
remember about thoughts, they're not really true. They're not always true. Let's put it that way. And that's where children get into trouble because they begin to think their thoughts are real. And, you know, I've seen this in adults and young men and women that, it's very frustrating because they weren't taught how the thought system works. And one of the things
Right.
just before COVID, I had 3 of my girlfriends lose their 30-something sons to suicide. And that really triggered me to say, "Oh my, we really must teach these children and then young adults and adults uh, to understand the thought loops that we get caught up in and we begin to believe because they become an electrical impulse and a chemical reaction. And if you keep doing that, that chemical reaction keeps developing the same chemicals in your body, and you keep thinking the same things over and over and over. And if we can teach children how
Right.
thoughts work, we save a lot of sadness and a lot of pain and that sort of thing. So we started with thoughts, and um, from there we went to calm to calm the thoughts down because we're all in stress. Every single person is in stress, and even if you're the Dalai
Yes.
Lama. I remember when somebody said, "You ever have regrets?" And he goes, "Yeah," and I thought, well, he's got some issues too. We all do, So
We
we
all
teach them.
do.
Yeah, and we teach them to calm them down through their breath, through feeling, and then responding. It's that gap, that everybody talks about, Deepak Chopra and Rumi and whoever else. You have a thought, and then there's that gap before you make a choice. And that's where we want to get those kids.
Yes.
And, we have had meditation for thousands of years. But one of the things that I found when I was growing up and learning things and being with people that are meditators, they don't always find clarity. And clarity is being on purpose. And what that means is you're aware of your choices and your responses. And so that's the big thing we teach kids is like, oh, that's why I did that, because I wasn't thinking clearly, and so that's it. And then we teach them gratitude, which I'm sure gratitude is like a magnet, and it puts you into receivership, like, oh, I'm so grateful for this day. Well, you begin that day with that high elevated state of being, your day is different, and you can use it for
Yes.
anything and
Yeah.
everywhere you are. Gratitude is a great thing. I think we kind of made it like a fad back there in the 80s and 90s, and they didn't get the meaning of it. The deep meaning is that you already have it. You're grateful and you already have what, it may be just coming to you, but you can feel it, and that's a good one for little kids. We take magnets and we put them together and we, understand how gratitude works. And then my favorite
Yeah.
thing is the guidance system. And the guidance system, we call it the good, powerful system or your GPS. It's that intuitive place inside you, Kate, and we all have, but nobody wants to recognize it. It should be taught in kindergarten. It should be taught in first grade. It should be taught all the way through the education system that we have this natural inside of us instincts and guidance system that will support us. And it'll say, yeah, watch out for them. They might not be the ones you want to work with, or like it starts your prefrontal cortex. It fires it up. It gets it going. It says, oh yeah. And you start to create and, it's the guidance system to me is one of the most important of the 8 because you begin to connect with all that is, however you say it. You could define it by science, you can define it by spirituality, whatever, but there is a sense beyond us that every single person, every person in your audience has heard. There's this guidance system. So once you have this guidance system, you go, oh yeah,
Absolutely.
then you learn how to observe the world. And we teach it through. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I think I still have big ADHD, but who knew it? Back in the 50s, nobody knew what ADHD was, and they'd always go, psst, psst, hey, pay attention, and I think, well, and finally as an adult, I thought, well, nobody taught me how to pay attention. You have to be taught how to
Yeah.
pay attention. It's not just like, so many times parents just think kids know things. And that's one of the things why I have put this together as a parent or teacher program with the children, because then the parents go, oh, that's true. I never taught them that, And so observation is learning and becoming aware and learning how to use uh, to be able to pay attention. And it's not
Yeah.
easy. And the worst ones are the teachers. When I talk to teachers, I'm like, hey, but they're in groups of people that are not able to pay attention. So it's hard for them too. You show up as the beings you're around and that sort of thing. So that's a very important one. And then perspective. I always tell kids, not everybody thinks like you do. So, get over it. You don't have to be the bully, and the bully doesn't get that not everybody thinks like you. So, you just got to learn these things and learn the perspective of it. We have a great little story that we created. We've made lots of short stories in our program, and we've made 8 books too. But I love the time travel. We travel through different times and see the perspective and how it changes over time. And I think that's really an easy way for kids to say, oh yeah, okay, so they thought like that, but then in this era they thought like that. It kind of gives them a practice of how perspective is. And as well as I do in this day, we really have to be understanding to people, because there are so many, people that are just, no, it's this way and there's only this way, and they're developed.
Right.
Yeah. And they're developed in a certain way that perhaps they're not as responsive to life. They have a leader, and that leader is what they could share because it makes them feel safe. But in life ingredients, what we're trying to do is to allow children to feel safe everywhere by understanding, you know what, this person has a different experience. They grew up different from me. They think different from me, and I'm going to listen to them. Perspective is about listening to people and say, that's how you think, you know? And I have somebody in my family that thinks totally different from me. And I've become a good listener. And I think, well, that's a good point, you know, and all that. But, and being kind and loving to people that think, I've many times stopped and talked to the homeless because what's your story? Where have you been? What do you, they teach me so much. I learn from them, you know? I love perspective too. And of course, I already talked about truth. All of these lead you up to truth. And that's learning how to navigate your own um, challenges and your own achievements. You learn how to navigate it because both challenges and achievements are a journey you have to get to.
Right.
And I truly believe that these 8 life ingredients would help any child to develop a more comfortable place to live in their lives. Sorry, that was a long.
Those are fantastic. That's nope, that's great. Those are fantastic. And and like we said before, you're absolutely right. You know, they're all they're all put in a way where, a young child can understand how to
Mhm.
put all of this into place. But we also have to remember, like as adults, this is still very, very similar information. It's getting back to those basics, and it's understanding that this is,
Yeah,
why we need to do things, and this is how we kind of process and understand, and really getting down to the root of the person as an individual rather than a society of our people. And
right.
and so if people can get back to some of these basics, we would have a much better society in general, I think.
You're right about that, Caden. And you know what's interesting is the things that I'm teaching, there are thousands of life coaches and scientists and, doctors and nurses and, philosophers and all of these beings teaching the same thing I'm teaching, you know, but not many people are
Absolutely.
teaching. Yeah. And not many people are teaching it to children. And I don't dumb it down to those kids. You know what I'm saying? Like a spade is a spade. This is the way it is. And, we have to talk about it. And one little boy, his dog died. And I said, yeah, that's tough. And you're going to have those experiences through your whole life. And what we have to do is elevate ourselves to, oh, my dog, we ran through the meadows and we had such a great time. And, what did he teach you? I just finished
Right.
recently videoing 36 kids and they all ask questions like, how can I change the world? Or what is awareness? I'm not sure what awareness is. Or, my mom expects me to do things, but she forgets to show me how to do it. And then she gets mad when I don't know how to do them. All of these children have been asking these questions, and I offer them to parents to say, look, they want to know things too. They want to be heard
Yeah.
and be respected. And that's why this life ingredients is so important because it's parents and teachers and kids learning together. And parents will say, oh, I forgot that. Or I have a lot of teachers who say to me, I need this more than the kids do, because it's renewing things we forgot, or we try
Yep.
to bring in the newest science around things, and I'll say, oh, I didn't recognize how the brain works and how this works, and that sort of thing. So I think it's a good program. It's still not off, we love it to get to the masses so the masses can say, oh, that thoughts are things, they're real, but they're not always true. Boy, if we all knew that, wouldn't it
Yeah.
be
And
yeah.
that's part of, you start talking about mental health, and you start talking about, how kids are learning how to process what they're dealing with, and process those, newfound things in school, and some of their new, whether it's their special ed courses, or whether it's their, occupational therapy or things like that, and kind of that overwhelming emotion that comes with that sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And we just expect them to be better, and we expect them to be, well beyond their years. And
Exactly.
we need to remember as adults to let them just be, and let them learn and help them learn.
Yeah.
And so I think if we all got back to these eight basic things, and
Mhm.
explain ourselves better to them, and walk them through what it is that they're dealing with, using these forms, using all of these steps, they would definitely have a much better outcome in their therapies. They would have a much better outcome in their, overall life, and
Yeah.
in their friendships, relationships, everything.
Yes. Something that was revealed to me this fall, Caden, when I went back to work with the kids. I had this one class, and they were just like all over the place. They looked like a spaghetti bowl, and the one little kid goes, the one little kid says, "Well, I have ADHD," and I looked at him and I said, "So do I." And he goes, "Well, I can't sit still." And I said, "Funny thing, I have ADHD and I have made myself learn how to do that." And here's what's going on in parenting and in teaching. They give them a label and they go, "Oh, well, he can't do that because he's ADHD, or he has learning difficulties and blah, 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 all that stuff." And I always go back to, I think her name is Grandin. She has autism, and she has a PhD now, and I can't think of her name, Grandin. But anyways, she grew up, very, very autistic, and her mother insisted that she had manners. And we don't, like, "Oh, I feel so bad for him." And I'm guilty of this myself because I had two children that had IEPs. They have difficulty with reading and then that sort of thing. And I remember I said, "Oh, but they can't read well. They can't." And I wasn't mature enough to say, "You know what? They can, and we can get them to this place, and we can do these things, and we can change things." I didn't have the
Yeah.
experience then. And this is another thing I share with kids, like, okay, you have ADHD, but there's nothing you can't do. Everything is possible. And the other thing you have to realize is you're inexperienced. There was a little boy we were in this whole big meditative state where we call it calm mind sessions. We were just calming ourselves down. And this one little boy, he kept snapping his pencil on the table. Okay, God love him. And so when we were done, "Hey, buddy, can I use you for a learning experience?" And he goes, "Sure." And I said, "Well, I want to let you know that you did nothing wrong, but I want you to be aware of your inexperience." When they call me Shanti. That's my grandmother name. And in the schools, they call me Shanti. It means peace. And so I'd say, when Shanti says, "Okay, now it's time to have calm mind session," that means you put everything away. You just put your hands in your lap, or, fold your hands or whatever like that, and do the best you can. And I said, "I realized you did the best you could this time because, you were snapping your pencil and everything. But next time, just put that pencil away and let's be calm." And it's not anything you did wrong. It's just the inexperience of it. And that's what we need to deal with kids, and with and mental wellness. It's just like I had a principal ask me to talk to this child that has said to the teacher, I think he said something like, "You suck," or, "School sucks," or something like that. And so I talked to the kid and I said, "Hey, look," he goes, he said, "It looks like you're just having a bad day." And he goes, "Yeah, I am." And he says, "You know what? I'm so afraid when I go home that I'm going to get in so much trouble and I might even get hit and all that." And I said, "Well, let's role play. Let's see how you would do if you go home and, explain to dad, 'Boy, I had a really bad day and I spoke out of turn and I, embarrassed somebody and I was disrespectful, but I didn't know how to deal with it.'" He was inexperienced. So much mental illness problems is inexperience. They just don't know any
Yeah.
better, you know? And that little boy has had some really good days since then. But then I went to the teacher or the principal and I said, "The word suck, big deal." He goes, "Well, the board would have a fit if they knew a child was allowed to say that." I said, "I didn't tell you to say it's allowed to say it. I just said the teacher needs to have a different response." She's like all over it, like, "Oh my God, how dare you," and gets all upset and everything like that. I mean, I
Yeah,
think most teachers recognize that, but this person, young person, like that was disrespectful. Well, most of us every day are a little bit disrespectful to ourselves. It's
that's
experience,
right.
learning. And this child was having a bad day, and we all have bad days. I could
And
talk
we're
forever.
and they need to be allowed to have, they need to be allowed to have that grace and know that, that behavior is, you know, against the rules, and we know that. But
Yep,
also, like, we all have those moments. And so,
absolutely, absolutely.
it's learning to express that in a different way, in a more, calming, more stable way.
Yes, yeah.
So,
And just real quick, I think this is very important for your
yeah.
listeners. I think it's called Second Chance. It's a book about prisoners, and this woman is amazing. She goes in and she speaks to the prisoners and everything. And she asked them once, why are you here? And almost every one of them said, I never felt seen. I never felt acknowledged. As parents and teachers, it's so important for us to acknowledge first ourselves, because you can't acknowledge anybody else if you don't acknowledge yourself. And you just say, I'm here today. I'm
Right.
going to do a great job. I'm going to do the best job I can. And I'm here to love this experience and support these children. And then, you acknowledge them. Even when they're bad, you acknowledge the good thing about them. Say, whoa, that was pretty interesting what you just did. And, we're going to look at that as a class, why that happened and how we can support you to make it a little bit different next time. But, we all have a bad day, or,
That's right.
you might have forgotten or whatever, just be, and then it's not that you're being, you're sharing with them. You're not like trying to wipe it away or make it, you're showing
Right.
I am experienced and I need to know these tools in order to make my life better.
That's right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being on the episode with us today, Deb. This has been Deb Kelly. If you
Yeah.
are looking for more information about the life ingredients, these eight amazing ingredients that we've talked about today, or you have any other questions about working with your own kids or your class, you can find her on lifeingredients.com. And
Hmm.
all of those ingredients are on there, as well as all of the books and some of the information. You've got some testimonials from parents that have been through the class on the website, which is great.
Hmm.
And, we hope that you took something out of this episode today that you didn't know or that maybe you had forgotten. And hopefully, listening to it from this perspective gives you a little bit of a direction on some things that you can change in your own life and make your life better. It's all about that improvement and, and becoming a better person every day. So, Deb, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate that very much. And it was great meeting
Thank
you.
you. Thank you
And
for putting this kind of information out in the world. You're making a difference in the world, Caden, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
oh, absolutely, we appreciate you. And again, thank you, everybody, for listening in today. This has been another amazing episode on Into the Light with Mending Minds Village. We will be talking to you again soon.
I
Have a
hope
great
so.
day.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye. This was another great episode from Into the Light with Mending Minds Village. We wanted to do a post announcement for you to give you an update on our events upcoming, some groups that we're doing, and to let you know about a benefit concert that will be taking place on June 14th, 2024. So let's talk about that for just a moment. So we do have our peer support group that is going to be held on the first ever peer support group here in Morgan County, Utah, will be held on February 29th, 2024, 7 p.m., Morgan County Auditorium here in Morgan, Utah. At the exact same time, we will be hosting another peer support group held by the amazing Tracy Watkins, and that will be in Laverican, Utah, in Washington County, the exact same time. If you would like information on either of those groups, you can contact us today at info@mendingmindsvillage.org, and we would be happy to connect you with the uh, facilitators of those groups so that you can go and participate. If you are interested in other events, we will be staging at the Morgan County Resource Fair that is going to be held on March 14th. Right here in Morgan County, Utah, the same area. We're going to be at the Morgan County Auditorium. You can come and join us there and see all the amazing resources that Mending Minds Village has to offer, as well as other resources in Morgan County, and see the things that we're trying to create for our county here. On June 14th, as we have discussed, we have the Walk for Life Suicide Prevention Walk. That will be taking place at the Morgan County High School on the football field track. And that event has some amazing sponsors. We would like to thank them on the show today. So this is a thank you to Shirts to a T, to Raising Canes, to First Community Bank of Utah, and now to our amazing benefit sponsors, the June Brothers. The June Brothers are a country music band and a rock band that are based here in Salt Lake City, Utah. They are pretty well known, and they come top 3 recognized in the state of Utah for country music and rock music. We would like to thank them for coming up and supporting this event by hosting a benefit concert. They will be performing live for you from the Walk for Life event on Friday, June 14th, 2024. That event will be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. So come and get your seats, get comfy, come and see us. Of course, the walk starts at 3 p.m. We'll be going until 10 p.m. or until everybody's too tired to keep walking, in which case we'll shut her down early. But we would love to see you there. We've got more great people coming. We've got NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, that is going to be bringing a booth. We have the wonderful people at Safe Utah that are going to be coming up with a booth to give you resources. We are also working on some other mental health facilities and more mental health resources for that event. So if you are part of any of those organizations or facilities and you would like to be a vendor at our Walk for Life event on June 14th, please reach out to us again, info@mendingmindsvillage.org. If you are coming to that walk to support somebody that either we have lost or that you're struggling yourself, or you know somebody that is and you'd like to come and support them, please do. We would love to have you. We'd love to see your smiling faces there walking with us on that event. If you would like to honor somebody, if you would like us to recognize somebody that has been lost to suicide, and that you would like to see them honored at this event, please reach out to us at info@mendingmindsvillage.org, or go to the website mendingmindsvillage.org, click on the link that says Walk for Life events, and you can submit your team to walk in honor of that person or those people. If you do create a team and you fill out the packet, create a team for us, that we will put up a sign for that person and or those people. There's no limit to the amount of people that you can recognize, and we'd love to do that for you. We believe that any life lost is a major loss to not only your personal family but to society, and so we would like to honor that person. We again thank you so much for listening to Into the Light with Mending Minds Village. We are so excited that we have more podcast episodes coming up for you. We've got some interviews coming up. We, of course, are going to be soon having our 3-episode series on child abuse in the family court system. We're going to be hearing from families that are experiencing that either currently or have in the past. And we're going to talk about how Ohm's Law here in Utah is going to impact those families and some of the decisions that could have been made on those cases. So please stay tuned, continue sharing. We look forward to seeing all of you right back here on Into the Light with Mending Minds Village on the next episode next Friday. We will see you then.